Alright YouTube, what's going on? Heylow here, bringing you an all-new Total War Warhammer 2 1v1 matchup. So today we're going to be doing a little XMT sparring match with Professor Pipes. So we're going to be doing a Chaos versus Empire game, and let's get going. So for myself, playing Chaos, we're going to have a Chaos Sorcerer, Lore of Shadows. He is going to be on horse. He is going to be rocking Enfeebling Foe and the Withering. He's going to be mainly providing some debuffs to main engagements, mainly concerned about like Karl Franz, Altdorf Griffites, things like that. Frontline is going to consist of intermixed Chaos Marauders and Warriors with great weapons, just enough to like trade with some cheap Empire infantry, but enough punching power to cut through greatswords and halberds as well. Up in the skies, we're going to have two Feral Manticores, and then in the back line, we're going to have a Dragon Ogre Shaggoth and the Summoners of Rage to support. Out on each flank, we're also going to have two Chaos Warhounds and two Chaos Warhounds with Poison, split evenly. And they're going to be my flankers going after routing units, try and chase down any like skirmishers, things like that I can compromise. And yeah, that's it. So over here for the Empire, played by Professor Pipes, he has taken the hill, the stalwart Empire defenders, but his build is going to consist of Franz in the air, Jade Wizard as well, who's going to be rocking some Earthblood as well as Regrowth. And on the ground, he's going to have a mix of spears and halberds with the Sigmar Sons to kind of anchor the core. Silver Bullet Handgunners as well as the Hammer of the Witches. Very, very good units. You get that magic and AP missile damage. Kind of blow through a lot of elite Chaos units like monsters and infantry. Over on each flank, we got some Empire Knights, and then he also has a Steam Tank. So normally people kind of give the Steam Tank crap, but it is a very, very tough unit to kill. Very high armor, and it's basically just a really big distraction unit where if you ignore it, it can actually do a lot of damage to you. It can take out some elite infantry, chip damage on your monsters, things like that. But you have to go through the entire thing's HP pool if you want to bring it down early, and that's a heck of a lot, especially with all of the healing potential from the Jade Wizard. So let's get moving here. So right off the bat, we're going to be pushing up to meet this Empire force, and our hounds are going to start going through the woods on the left for a little sweeping flank, as well as my hidden hounds on the right. They're going to be pushing around to kind of hit this wood line over here, try and get a little envelopment going, because he doesn't have a lot of mobility, and his mobility is Empire Knight, so it's heavy armored cav, but they're not anti-large, they're not armor piercing, so we're going to be using our Shaggoth and the Summoners to kind of just push these guys off, because fortunately for us, we can go 1-for-1 with his cav here, and we will win very handily. So you can see he's kind of moving up here to go for a little engagement, and we managed to get our Shaggoth ahead just to interrupt that charge and do a nice little bit of damage. Manticore is coming in from the flanks to try and bog these guys down, get a little bit of rear charging done and some damage as well. Summoners of Rage are diverting. They were going to go after the Steam Tank, but we're pulling our Manticores back, and Professor Pipes decides to take advantage of this situation and try and get a little charge on the Chaos Marauders. Unfortunately, they don't pick up enough momentum, so they just kind of haphazardly just waddle into combat, and the Summoners are going to be here with the Manticores to get some decent damage into that. Unfortunately, Silver Bullet's up ahead doing some solid work in the overhead fire. Summoners are going to go in and get a little charge on the Sigmar Sons, trying to push through to the Silver Bullets, but he's going to get a little tied up. And unfortunately, we are taking tons of damage here from the bullets, but Poison Warhounds are coming in, and you can see here I'm threading the gap, just trying to move my guys through, just enough to be able to get at the core. Other Poison Warhound here, this was a bit of a mistake. I got a little too invested seeing Franz here and wanting to go after a goon, so I pop Enfeebling Foe and Withering, but I could have just used those guys to go after these Silver Bullets. But the Hounds are in the back line. We managed to thread the gap and get moving before Professor Pipes could realize it. So the Silver Bullets are getting hit from behind. The Hammer of the Witches is taking a substantial amount of damage. Unfortunately, we have lost the Summoners of Rage and the Manticore, but they will come back for a little bit here temporarily. And meanwhile, our infantry is winning the line engagement against all of this cheap spears and such. Warhounds with Poison help us mop up that entire flank engagement. And Silver Bullet's taking a pretty substantial amount of damage. Unfortunately, our other Warhound does get a little bit gooned on, but we're going to go for the rear charge with the Chaos Marauders. Bronze is back here going after our Summoners, but we do manage to pull back our other Manticore. Our second Manticore here, still on full HP, going after the Jade Wizard. This is the big thing I like about the Manticores in the Empire matchup. Franz has 90 speed, but the Manticore has 85, so he's very, very slightly slower, but you can still juke out Franz. So right here, you're going to see Franz is going in for the attack, and I just veer off to the side. I go right around him, just completely ignored. So you just, as long as you can keep your micro on, you should be able to avoid Franz getting any real good charges. And you can always just dive down into combat and use your Shaggoths and such to support. So out here, Poison Hounds and some of my infantry pushing up to try and catch his Empire Knights while he's microing elsewhere. And we do manage to get some damage done there and just kind of chip at their heels. But Franz is going down into combat to try and go after my Lord and gets a very, very solid consecutive string of charges there, doing a lot of damage. Foe Seeker is up, but we do have a lot of infantry here, and our Lord is going to terror route, but he's going to pull back through our lines. So that's going to give the Shaggoth a chance to get in here and get a nice shot in on him as well, Withering being popped to kind of debuff his armor and leadership. So he's going to be pulling out of there, and our Lord does come back just in time. So meanwhile, over here, we are chasing down his Silver Bullets. Our other Manticore has managed to get a hold of the Jade Wizard and terror route it out, so we're going to be trying to chase him off. He is going to come back, but our Manticore is going to be able to get a charge before Pipes is able to do anything with him, and he's going to push him right back off the battlefield. So some more Hounds rallying, and we're just going to kind of keep chasing and picking at the heels of our opponent here from the edges. Our units over here still bog down these Empire Knights. Some of our warriors with great weapons are coming in to support our Marauders. And then in the main blob engagement, our Lord is terror routed again from another goon strike from Franz. But enfeebling foe popped. He does have Galmaraz though, and the Shaggoth is going after him. But this steam tank is kind of just blocking everything up. And you can see a mass terror route from the pocket here, which is horrible for me. My Lord is running, my infantry is running, but Shaggoth desperately trying to catch Karl Franz before he can get in the air, just land maybe another hit. But our Manticore does come back, and unfortunately the Jade Wizard does not run off the battlefield. I overestimated how far his leadership would take him out there, and he ended up managing to stabilize. But we get some Poison Hounds back, and with that we're able to hit Franz and kind of debuff his speed. And that is going to give us an opportunity to bring the Chaos Sorcerer Lord back and keep him from getting run off the field. Our great weapons a little bit isolated here, but they did some good damage on the Empire Knights, so they're going to be coming back to the fight as well. And with that, a lot of our units begin rallying yet again. So our Chaos Warriors and Chaos Marauders still doing very well in combat here, taking on the spears. We're trying to just kind of pocket up on this hill at this point and get our units back. But Pipes has taken Franz over for some nice free charges on our flank units. This is something you usually have to be very, very careful about when your opponent has like flying lords, especially very powerful ones like Franz. When you get your units isolated like I have, when they rally, Franz can go around and just hit them continuously, and a lot of the times they'll terror route, and there's nothing you can do to support it. So you can see his Empire Knights are at this point trying to chase off my healthy units. He's trying to get this Marauder off that still has half health, and out here he's terror routed another Chaos Marauder that regrouped. My Manticore still has a solid amount of HP, and he's chasing after the Jade Wizard, trying to keep him on his toes. When you can do stuff like that, it forces your opponent to just constantly be microing so much. But we kind of give up on the Jade Wizard there and go after the Silver Bullets, because at the moment the Silver Bullets are the bigger threat. Yes, he can get heals, but we really need to take those guys out because they can do work on my Shaggoth. And you can see the terror out there applies, and now we're going to take our Manticore and go back after the Jade Wizard in a second. Shaggoth here is going to be responsible for chasing this steam tank down and giving it the beat down. But Earthblood going off on the Stonk, and that is going to be juicing it back up. You can see the HP pools on these guys. If you're not careful, they can be a major threat. He hasn't gone through a ton of his ammo, but he did work earlier in the game to help take down my summoners as well as my other Manticore. So right now Franz is in a pretty precarious situation health-wise, and our Manticore does try and get some shots in on him, doing pretty decently there, but he has rampaged. So unfortunately we aren't going to be able to pull him out of combat. This isn't exactly a fight we want our Manticore to be in, because the Manticore is going to take a beating out of this, and we can't really heal anything like the Jade Wizard's able to. So he's going to be up there trading some shots, and it's not bad for us. He'll do some solid damage. But on the ground, we are going to be chasing the steam tank around, using the Poison Hounds to try and bog it down so we can get some good charges on it. And you can see up here the Manticore is doing good work. It's doing a very good job. Took some solid damage off Franz, but we end up losing it in the end, which is a very, very sad day for us because we really needed him to take the Jade Wizard out. Because now Franz and the wizard are free to cycle around the air and go for charges, and my lord is dangerously low on health, 995. So Franz goes in for a little bit of a grab, it hits the Shaggoth, but and then manages to hit our sorcerer lord, and the sorcerer lord's going to tear it out again. But the Shaggoth is going to turn about and manage to chase off Karl Franz. But again, you can see Earthblood going off and getting a double heal on both of these guys. So Manticore back in the air and immediately routes. But our Lord has stabilized yet again. Balance of power dead even throughout this entire game. It's crazy, just absolutely crazy. And Pipes knows that if he dedicates Franz to chasing off this Manticore, he's going to lose the steam tank, and a lot of his infantry is going to be at risk because of the Shaggoth. So here I'm just trying to dance around with my caster and just keep juking Franz as he comes in from the air. Try to be there to support with my Dragon Ogre Shaggoth. But the steam tank here is moving in to try and support as well and keep this Shaggoth busy so that he's able to go for the Lord Snipe. Manticore back again. Over here, we managed to catch his Jade Wizard in combat, the Poison Hounds and the Great Weapons getting engaged. Doing a very good job of mopping up what's left of this infantry. Should be able to do some decent damage to the Wizard as well. Manticore going in for a little bit of a jab. Doesn't really hit him, but we managed to again juke out the charge and come in for a counter charge with our Manticore. And the Shaggoth is coming in as well. Managed to get some solid pin here to try and just take him out, because we really need to get him out of the fight. Manticore does end up going down, but we get another solid hit from the Shaggoth, and we're just going to try and get the Chaos Sorcerer Lord out of range of these silver bullets and just try and get off to the side. But we really need to take them out, because if my opponent moves them to go after the Chaos Sorcerer Lord and he dies, it's over. Balance of power slightly in my favor, but if I lose my Lord, that's going to be GG. So again, we just go for a little bit of a juke here, try and just like kite Franz around, but I'm getting terror routed. The Shaggoth is coming in to try and go for a charge here, but Karl Franz, very quick, is going to be running back up to the air. And at that point, we've kind of lost our Lord. Like, there's not really anything that we can do. But he stabilizes again, and it's absolutely incredible throughout this entire game to cat and mouse with the Sorcerer Lord. The infantry fight has gone my opponent's way. We've mopped up almost all of his army, but that steam tank applying the terror, really supporting that Jade Wizard and what's left of those spears in those fights. So our greatest warriors of great weapons are going to be going back in to try and get at this Jade Wizard. But Summoner, or our Dragon Ogre Shaggoth and our Lord here just continuing to play cat and mouse with Franz. And my opponent popping some more shots into my Shaggoth, doing some solid AP damage, little chips here and there. There aren't many of them left, however. So we're just going to move in. We're going to go for the final blow on this steam tank, try and take it out with the Shaggoth. But we do have the Jade Wizard here, so I'm going to send the Shaggoth after the steam tank to try and finish it, and my caster is going to go after his Jade Wizard. And we managed to land a very nice blow on each, and boom, there goes the steam tank. Caster does manage to force off the Jade Wizard, and we're going to send the Shaggoth in, but the spears are going to kind of bog him down a little bit, and Franz is going to go after that last goon. And we managed to just dip out of the way, and we're going to pull him back to try and get behind our Shaggoth, and the Shaggoth is going to intercept, but we still get the terror route, and it's just Franz and the Shaggoth right now. Just the duel, the usual Chaos and Empire duel. It's absolute craziness. But these guys are just beaten down. The Jade Wizard does manage to come back from routing with a few spears to support. But on the other hand, our Lord has also rallied, so he is flying back in. Our great weapons are back as well, and we do manage to beat down Karl Franz, and that is going to cause the army lost terror rout. So very, very close game. Awesome match from my opponent. It was very micro-intensive for both of us, trying to just like be all over the place, keeping one thing out of danger from another thing. I'm going after his caster, he's going after my caster Lord, and just constant cat and mouse bait switching. It was a very, very close match. But yeah, I really hope you guys enjoyed that. Let's check out the kills here. So for myself, Manticore 1, not really doing too much. Well, actually, this is the Manticore, I believe, that was chasing around the Jade Wizard the entire time. So this guy picked up Chevron, did manage to do pretty decent work against these Empire Knights. He doesn't have AP and they're pretty heavy, but what you can do is you fly in when they charge and you just bog them down with your heavy mass, and it keeps them from getting out of the fight, lets your Shaggoths and whatnot get in there and engage. But Hound's doing a very good job at helping my engagements. The Shaggoth 3 chevrons was basically the the cornerstone of this build in this matchup. He just kept us in it the entire time. Caster doing some good work to support, keep Karl Franz from landing too many hits with enfeebling foe. Withering going down on some targets just to help us get a little extra damage in, try and rout them off. But yeah, great weapons doing awesome work here against all of this like standard infantry. And Sorcerer Lord just playing dodgeball the entire time. But yeah, for Pipes over here, Franz did great. He was excellent, constantly on point with them, going after the Lord Snipe, beating down my Manticore, and his Silver Bullets did absolute work, taking down the Summoners of Rage and one of my Manticores while they were engaging the Empire Knights. So it kind of ended up a little bit of a trade there. Like, I beat his Cav, but I lost my Cav tools. So it just kind of went for a little bit of a wash. Hammer of the Witches did okay, did very solid work against the Summoners. And Steam Tank, this guy was such a pain to take down. Just huge HP pool and unbreakable, so he just sits there harassing you the entire time. But yeah, GG guys, I hope you enjoyed. Drop a comment down below if you want to see anything in particular or what you usually like to use as your build. Is there anything in particular that you like or don't like with these? Yeah, see you guys later.